There's never any celebration quite like the one after an Ohio State win over Michigan. Hi everyone, I'm Jeff Hogan, and this is Buckeyes 98 across the field. It's a look back at the 1998 season, and it was certainly one for celebration for Ohio State football. It was a season that included 10 weeks to top the college football polls, a bunch of entries into the Ohio State record books, and of course, a win over Michigan.
And here comes Lloyd Carr out to shake John Cooper's hand, and the Wolverine Demon has been exorcised and sent back to Michigan as Ohio State beats Michigan 31-16.
That was a good feeling, you know. You just look at the whole environment, you know. Columbus was happy, you know. We was happy, Coach Cooper was happy. And that's the type of environment we want to have. After one win over Michigan in the last 10 years, Ohio State's 31-16 victory against the team up north ended the longest drought for OSU since 1919, when the Buckeyes finally beat Michigan after 13 losses and 2 ties. With 462 yards of total offense and the defense allowing the Maize and Blue just 4 yards of rushing offense, it was especially rewarding to not only beat Michigan, but to beat them handily.
This is a game we think about all year. It takes a year-long commitment to beat a premier team like Michigan. And it was sweet to get them down, and I felt we beat them soundly.
Even before the game began, you could tell it had the makings to be one of the greatest ever. Script, Ohio whipped the crowd of over 94,000 into a frenzy. 16 seniors were honored for playing their final game ever in the shoe. And the team took the field through a tunnel of pride, surrounded by former players who welcomed the current ones into the Buckeye family. Even though there was a game to be played, it was difficult not to soak up the atmosphere.
Seeing everybody standing on their feet, cheering, yelling, clapping, seeing people jumping around, high-fiving, and that's something that people at other schools will never get the opportunity to see.
In big games like this, big players are asked to step up. Guys like Joe Germain, David Boston, and Michael Wiley's names will go right alongside the likes of Eddie George, Chris Spielman, Archie Griffin, and Rex Kern as Buckeye heroes who beat Michigan. They also serve as inspiration to their teammates.
The big players stepped up. Look at Joe Germain, David Boston. Those guys are inspiring to us, and it's just as much fun for us to watch them as it is for the fans.
No one is more of an inspiration than the head coach. John Cooper has won 96 games at Ohio State. He's taken the Buckeyes to the top of the polls. He's one of the nation's best recruiters. But above all, he has the love and admiration of his players.
He takes so much heat, and I just wish people really knew what kind of man he was and what kind of coach he is, because, I mean, he's just a great coach.
Great man, even outside of coaching, and that was especially for him. He's worked so hard, you know, to prepare us every week, and we've had the best coaching staff, we think, in the country, and it's a tribute to the coaches.
Cooper was very happy. He was happy. He was in tears. Everybody that needed to be in tears was in tears, and I think the coaching staff definitely deserves it, and I'm glad we got it.
That's the ball we played the last play of the game with. You use a lot of balls in the game, and we'll probably put that in the trophy case. That's not my ball. They gave it to me, but that's a team ball. I didn't win the game, the team did.
Over the last 6 years, Ohio State has won 61 games, trailing only Nebraska, Florida, and Florida State in that span. As much success as the Buckeye program has had, a win over Michigan is still very emotional.
Yeah, I was crying my eyes out. I was just so happy. I mean, a lot of frustration, you know, we finally, you know, gave way, and it just felt fantastic.
It's a situation where it's a great football game. We were fortunate enough to come out on top today, and I feel great for our kids.
For the third time in 6 years, Ohio State claimed a Big Ten championship. But for the first time in a long while, it was fun for the players to answer questions following a Michigan game.
For now, you can't really talk about it's a mental thing. You know, everybody's seeing what can happen when you go out and prepare yourself well. And I think that's going to be a lesson to the younger kids to know that you can go out there and beat them. And I think they're going to be ready for the next few years.
People at Columbus and the media, and they just want to ask you, you know, what's wrong with this team? It's not a lot of fun. You'd rather be saying, we're going to go roll, we're going to go play with confidence, and in the future, I hope our young guys on this team get to answer those types of questions when they go into this game.
Before there was ever talk of a win over Michigan or hopes of an undefeated season, the Buckeyes had to begin the 1998 campaign in unfamiliar territory. On the road, away from Ohio Stadium. It was the first time since 1975 the Buckeyes were the visitor in the season's opening contest. And adding to the adversity was the home team, 11th ranked West Virginia. Without a doubt, the largest question surrounding the 1998 Buckeyes was the offensive line. The answer to that question came fast and furious. Ohio State ground out a 10-3 lead when Michael Wiley went 19 yards for the season's first touchdown. While sharing duties with Stanley Jackson the past 2 years, Joe Germain waited patiently for his turn as the starting quarterback. For Buckeye fans, that wait was rewarded.
One receiver flanked to the right for Joe Germain. Backs are in the eye. Germain back to throw. Looking from the 20. Fires down the middle of the field. Caught. Touchdown. D. Miller with a scoring grab coming off the right flank. First scoring pass of the year.
The OSU lead got even larger thanks to the play of special teams. Joe Cooper forced a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, leading to a Dan Stoltz field goal and a 20-3 Ohio State lead. The Mountaineers added a touchdown before the half, but it didn't slow the Buckeyes in the third quarter.
And Ohio State has a lead of 20-10. The handoff will go to Montgomery, who dances. No, it's a fake. They'll throw it down the middle of the field. Caught and into the end zone. A touchdown, David Boston, as Joe Germain hit him on the fly down the middle of the field. Fake to Montgomery, sucked him in, and a 39-yard touchdown pass play. Nate Terry got burned on the toss, and it's 26-10 Ohio State.
It was all part of a 301-yard, 2-touchdown performance for Germain, who established himself as the leader of the OSU offense.
It was a great feeling. It's something I've looked forward to for a long time, and it's good to get a win under our belt, I should say, and hopefully we'll be even more sharp as the weeks goes on.
But the offense shouldn't get all the credit. The OSU defense limited Heisman candidate Amos Zaraway to 77 yards rushing, including -3 yards in the second half. Antoine Winfield was all over the field, collecting 8 tackles and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week honors. The Buckeyes started the season with a 34-17 win over a very good West Virginia team. Playing on the road and dealing with a hostile crowd left John Cooper very happy with his team's debut.
I told our football team after the game, I'm happy to win the game. I'm proud of them. I thought they played hard. But I think, guys, I really think we can play better than that. And I think we will have to play better than that.
I mean, we came in ranked #1 for the first time in a long time. I think we handled it well. I think our offensive line stepped up, and there was a little say-so on how they were going to play. And I think they did a great job for us.
Up next for the Buckeyes was a Toledo team that had lost only one more game than Ohio State had since 1994. Factor in the emotion of an in-state opponent, and the Rockets had the potential to be very dangerous. But blast-off never occurred. The entire day was summed up by the Buckeyes' opening drive. Backed up to their own 1-yard line, Ohio State went the length of the field, with 76 of those yards coming on the 5th longest run in school history. Michael Wiley had opened the floodgates. From there, Ohio State completely dominated Toledo. The Silver Bullets forced 5 interceptions from Rocket quarterback Chris Wallace and did not allow this MAC opponent to cross midfield until the 7:46 mark of the third quarter. Offensively, Ohio State rolled right along. Joe Germain tossed 3 touchdown passes. Michael Wiley ran for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Reggie Germany caught the first 2 touchdown passes of his career. Youth was served on this warm September day as 71 different players took the field for the Scarlet and Gray.
Yeah, it's a great rush. All the guys on the team are just waiting for that opportunity, and I got a chance today, and I think I did all right and did my job, and the guys played well around me.
When it was all said and done, Ohio State had won the game 49-0 behind 512 yards of total offense. They moved to 2-0 on the season and solidified their spot on top of the poll. But this team was determined not to lose focus.
Right now, I think we don't need to get complacent. We don't need to be satisfied. We got to stay hungry and just continue to work hard in practice. And, wherever the coaches say that we need help on, then work at it.
To become national champions, we have to win every game, and this was another step. And we made a lot of silly mistakes last week, and the coaches made sure that we stay focused.
A different type of challenge was presented to Ohio State on September 19th. 21st-ranked Missouri brought in the nation's top rushing attack and a gutsy quarterback who liked to run the option. Once again, the Buckeyes took their opening drive for more than 90 yards and a score. With the Tigers' defensive backs playing off receivers, Joe Germain chipped away with short passes to D. Miller and David Boston. Ohio State scored when Michael Wiley scampered in from 21 yards out, but the rest of the first half would be better off forgotten. David Boston got deep for a 43-yard catch, but he was stripped of the football and the Tigers took possession. Twice on the next drive, Corby Jones eluded the OSU defense on broken plays, the second of which tied the game at 7. Jones leapt backwards into the end zone, sending the message that he was out to give the Buckeyes fits. But the real problem for Ohio State was turnovers.
Buckeyes have a 10-7 lead. Michael Wiley returns the tailback. He's the deep man in the eye, and it's a fake handoff. Jermaine's going to run straight up through the pocket. 40-yard line, right side, Jermaine to the 35, takes a shot, fumbles the football. Missouri has it, and they're going to return it. Looks like that's going to be taken and maybe all the way for a touchdown, and Carlos Posey, the cornerback, picks it up, runs it down the left side of the field, 60 yards for a touchdown, and the Tigers have taken a lead in the football game.
For the first time in 1998, Ohio State faced some adversity. They trailed the 21st-ranked Tigers 14-13 at the half.
I think this was more of a gut check. We was down. I mean, when you're down, it shows a character of a team, what they're going to do. Under pressure, some people focus, some people fold. Today, I think we focused and did what we had to do.
After the defense forced a Missouri punt, the Buckeyes went ahead for good on Joe Montgomery's touchdown run. After that, the Buckeyes finally slowed down Jones. James Cotton reminded everyone of Andy Katzenmoyer's hit a year earlier. Cotton put a quick end to the option, and slowly, Jones and the Tigers could feel things slipping away. After picking up a first down on 4th and 1, Jones fumbled away Missouri's chances. Ahmed Plummer recovered, and OSU had this one in hand. For the third straight game, the Buckeyes' running attack was the difference. Behind Michael Wiley's 209 yards, Ohio State rolled up 320 yards on the ground on its way to a 35-14 win.
We always want to go out there and do good, but hopefully people know that we got a good running game with me, Joe, Keller, Derek, Jonathan, Jamar. So, I mean, hopefully people are starting to realize that we're deep at running back.
The Big Ten season opened up with Penn State, and for the third straight year, both teams came into this game undefeated and ranked in the top 10 nationally. Ohio State was boasting an offense that averaged over 500 yards per game and was scoring at a clip of just under 40 points per contest. But this would be a battle that belonged to the Buckeye defense. Mother Nature would have her say in this game. The teams took the field to a chilly, rainy Columbus afternoon that kept both offenses silent in the first quarter. The Buckeyes had a 50-yard field goal attempt blocked, setting up a 42-yard kick for Penn State's Travis Forney. He gave the Nittany Lions a 3-0 lead. The turning point of the game came on the next Penn State possession. 2nd and 10 from the Penn State 13. We pick up the call from the radio voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels.
Kevin Thompson barks out the call. He fakes the hand to McCoo, turns to throw. Knocked out of his hand. It's loose in the end zone. Touchdown. Jerry Rudzinski falls on the ball in the end zone for an Ohio State touchdown as the ball was knocked out of the hands of quarterback Kevin Thompson. And the senior team captain gives the Buckeyes the lead of 6-3 as he forced the turnover and he fell on the ball in the end zone.
That was the big play in the ball game. Jerry, defensively, we had a blitz call and Jerry came unblocked, and they were backed up and trying to run a bootleg, and quarterback got hit, and that was the big play in the game. I thought that really woke us up.
First thing I thought was Coach Puck says hunt up your teammates and go have a party with them, and I think we did that. We had fun out there, and I think the defense really had fun all day, and that's when we're going to play our defense, is when we're our best defense, when we're relaxed and having fun out there.
That play by the defense sparked the offense. OSU got the ball back with 1:48 to go in the half. In that drive, Joe Germain hooked up with D. Miller 3 times, including a crucial 4th and 8 that kept the drive alive. That allowed Germain to hit Michael Wiley over the middle for a 20-yard touchdown and a 14-3 lead. It meant momentum heading into the second half and a broken window up in the coach's booth. Quarterback coach Tim Salem was so excited over the touchdown, he put his hand through a window in the press box.
I'm just an innocent bystander. I don't know what happened there. Salem, right? Excitement.
He was just excited on
rumor has it was Coach Salem.
Just got real excited.
Coach Hayes was up there.
The OSU defense took over in the third quarter. After Damon Moore sniffed out a Penn State reverse, the Lions were forced to punt from their own end zone.
Pigeon about 3/4 of the way in the end zone. Slow high snap. It's blocked in the end zone. His foot. In the end zone, and it's fallen on for another Buckeye touchdown. Percy King blocked the punt, fell on the ball, and put 6 more on the board for Ohio State.
Again, the Buckeyes came up with a big play. Percy King blocked his 3rd career kick. Penn State pulled to within 21-9 when Mike Caramelli burst in from 1 yard out, but Ohio State's offense put things away. Joe Montgomery broke a 20-yard run to the outside, setting up his own touchdown, and put the finishing touches on a 28-9 win over the number 7 team in the country. Fred Pugich's Silver Bullets were all over the field this day, stopping 34 of Penn State's 59 plays for either a loss or no gain. Overall, the game showed that the top-ranked Buckeyes were a complete team. Offense, defense, and special teams all made large contributions to the win.
That shows the character and shows that we have a pretty good team. Offense isn't always going to put 45 points on the board. Defense isn't always going to get a shutout. But special teams came through, and defense made a couple plays, and then our offense got the momentum, and they started doing what they needed to do.
Week number 5 of the season took the Buckeyes on the road for the first time in over a month. More importantly, Ohio State had to guard against letdown. The Illini had just ended a 15-game conference losing streak the week before. And Illinois stood up to the Buckeyes early, stopping OSU on 4 straight plays inside the 2-yard line. Although Matt Keller appeared to get in, the officials didn't see it that way.
The official told me that the ball has to cross the goal line, like I didn't know that. I mean, I've only been coaching 37 years. I know the ball has to cross the goal line.
No problem for the Buckeyes. Joe Germain found big tight end John Lumpkin on a play-action pass, and OSU took a 10-0 lead. Illinois continued to limit Ohio State's ground attack, stuffing the line of scrimmage with 8 or 9 players at a time. Little did the Illini know they were in deep trouble. D. Miller made a great catch on this 41-yard bomb, and then David Boston showed how much speed he has by taking a slant pass and catch 30 yards for a touchdown, his 3rd of the year. The score rose to 24-0 on Germain's 3rd touchdown of the game, a 37-yard missile to Reggie Germany. The senior quarterback wound up with his 3rd career 300-yard game, and John Cooper felt Germain was the difference in this ballgame. Once again, Ohio State's defense was in control the entire game. They held Illinois under 200 yards total offense, and for the 2nd straight week, one of the Silver Bullets found the end zone.
10 Illini, the Buckeye 46, the score 27-0. Favor Ohio State, however. Kittner back to throw on 1st down. Hit by Cotton. Football's fumbled. Cotton picked it up. Or is it Diggs who has it? He's going to run it all the way into the end zone. So Ohio State will get a defensive touchdown for the 2nd week in a row. Linebacker Niall Diggs picks up the ball and scoots into the house. James Cotton, it looked like, was the defender who knocked the ball away from quarterback Kittner. And the Buckeyes lead goes to 33-0.
True freshman Jonathan Wells capped the scoring with a 2-yard jaunt, giving Ohio State a 41-0 lead. That continued OSU's dominance over Illinois. The last 4 years, they've won all 4 games by a combined score of 171-9 and haven't allowed a touchdown to the Illini offense. The season's 6th game brought the Golden Gophers of Minnesota into Columbus on an absolutely golden afternoon for college football. On offense, Ohio State came out in a 4-wide receiver set, announcing its intentions to throw the ball down the field. Joe Germain delivered on that promise, spreading the ball around early. The payoff came when David Boston put OSU on the board with this 6-yard touchdown grab. It didn't take long for the passing game to open up the running game. On their next possession, offensive coordinator Mike Jacobs couldn't have drawn it up any better. Michael Wiley turned 2 draw plays into 52 yards of positive gain, and that set up Matt Keller for his first touchdown of the 1998 season on, you guessed it, another well-timed draw play. But the Buckeyes didn't forget about the friendly skies.
Keller and Montgomery in the eye behind Joe Germain, who's going to pull the trigger from his own 40. Down the middle, hits Boston, catches the 30, left side to the 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown, David Boston. Joe Germain flings it to him. It's a 53-yard pass play. Make it 20-3. Favor Ohio State as Willie Middlebrooks got beat.
Germain and Boston kept busy all afternoon. The deadly duo hooked up 10 times for 191 yards, setting a new career high for Boston. As for Germain, he set 3 records with just 1 pass to Boston in the 3rd quarter. With this 38-yard play, Germain became the first OSU quarterback to throw for 300 yards in consecutive games, also the first to throw for 3 300-yard games in a season, and finally, the first to notch 4 career 300-yard performances.
That's a great feeling. You know, all the tradition, all the great quarterbacks that they've had here, and for this to be the first time that's happened, it's a tribute to them and a tribute to our coaches and our players.
Joe Montgomery suffered a serious knee injury 2 years earlier against these same Gophers. Montgomery and Michael Wiley added touchdowns for the Buckeye offense, which totaled 586 yards on the day. Those silver bullets on defense were also flying around. Niall Diggs registered 3 sacks, and for the 3rd straight week, the Buckeye D scored a touchdown. Central McClellan picked off a pass and dashed 60 yards to finish the scoring at 45-15 in favor of Ohio State. Even though the Bucs moved to 6-0 on the year and maintained their #1 ranking, there was plenty to improve on. Always a pet peeve of John Cooper's, the special teams had a punt block that resulted in a Minnesota safety.
We try to pride ourselves on our special teams, and then when that happens, it makes us all a little mad. So we got to work on that this week.
Coach Cooper especially does not tolerate any blows on the special teams, and we take great pride in our punt team being like a machine, and we get every punt off and we cover the punt well, and for them to get points out of one of our punts is we failed that play. We're going to watch a lot of film on it and practice that religiously this week.
We've seen Ohio State have success on the field, out in the open for everyone to see. But what about the Buckeye brain trust behind the scenes up here in the coach's box? We've got some rare footage of some play calling and planning that goes into game day.
Jimbo.
Got anybody down there?
Not yet. No one's there yet.
Yo, come in Tokyo.
I normally ask for something, and John will normally answer, and then we try to keep it quiet, and it's hard to be thinking, when people are yakking into the phone.
I see one back. Snake. Snake. Snake, snake, snake.
There's a series of communications goes on. First of all, what type of personnel groupings the offense is coming out in. How many tight ends are on the field, how many running backs are on the field, how many wideouts are on the field.
They had snake on, Freddie. Run it. Wait a minute, here we go. Tailbacks in. Tailbacks in. We're good, we're in line, we got it. Eye backs. Tailbacks, fullbacks, 6 yards. Belly give. All right, 3rd down 10. On the hash, Freddie. On the hash.
Then after each play, very quick, not a whole lot of talking about that play. All right, normally get to the next play. And then after the series is over is when we normally talk about the types of plays that they're running and that type of thing.
Hey, Freddie, we got the dog ironed out? Backs offset, backs offset. He was at 6 yards too, Coach. He was getting it. Throw it right here. Come on!
Out of bounds. He's out of bounds. His foot was out of bounds.
Return middle. Keep the first secondary out there.
John and I have a great rapport on the phones, and obviously he does a great job up top, as well as Sean and Jimmy on the sideline.
We're all on collectively as an offensive staff, along with Coach Cooper. But specifically, I'm talking with Chuck Stobart, who then goes ahead and conveys the play to either our runners or our signal people.
All right, here we go.
Jermaine may be changing the play at the line of scrimmage. No score early. Jermaine to throw for the end zone. Left flank hits David Boston.
Get it first, get it first. All right, we got some breathing room. Here we go. I hear you. Twins, regular. All right, here we go. Let's go. Left twins, load 149.
Boston and Miller both wide to the right. Wiley the eye, and Wiley gets the hand coming around left side. 15, 20. He's loose to about the 23.
It was 70 protection right there.
Backside. Somebody chasing down on the backside.
Third and one.
All right, here we go. Con.
Yeah. Scoreless first quarter. Backs in the eye. Pitch Wiley. Left side he comes 20. 20. Loose to the first.
Going to the house. He's going to the house. Woo! All right. Way to go, Michael. Great job. What a run. Great job. Yeah, they did. Nice patience there, Spence.
99-yard drive.
He beat the corner.
Just like the players, you practice, and we all, I enjoy practice myself, but I mean, game day is what you live for, and hey, that's why you're still in the game, because you like to climb up there, and people ask about, the pressure. That's the fun part of the game. That's why you're in the business, or that's why you're a player, because you enjoy those specific times.
All right, they were
that's off. Wow, that's what I'm saying. That's a different look.
Buckeyes have a 7-0 lead. Joe Germain fakes the handoff.
Touchdown.
He's at the 45. Long down the right to D. Miller. Got it at the 10. 5-yard line. Nice in for 6. Second touchdown catch of the year. 38 yards all total to play. And the Buckeyes get up to a 13-0 lead over the Rockets.
We go in every game, again, with the thought of balance, and then if we find something that's going to work, we're going to keep grinding on that until they stop that, whether it be the pass or the run.
They don't have 29 yards doing, and we're 100. Something's the matter with the board in there. We're 154.
Then we just throw a touchdown pass?
There
There it is. Boom. Tight end. Come on, Ronnie. Interception, yes. Interception.
Yard line. Sudden change. Let's go.
Woo!
Ball thrown into the left corner for Boston. Got it. Touchdown.
All right.
Again, you're doing everything you saw out there, right?
Go to the next one.
On the 27-80, do you think maybe you could give the guy was kind of right there, wasn't
I'd get him out of there on punt returns, Coach.
Yeah, we might have to back down 27-81.
That worries me.
27-81, okay? We set on that?
Again, that's where we want him to go.
You put the pressure on, buddy, right? This is your team. You're a damn senior, you're a captain. You get the damn pressure and execute the plays for me, please, okay? Give me Mark.
We were good.
Let's hang on, Freddie. Freddie, don't send him out yet. Don't send him out yet in case they reload.
Hey, sit down, please. Thank you. Hey, don't get excited, buddy. We're here to work.
Pitch will go to Montgomery, left side. He's in trouble, but steps it up to the 5 and runs in for 6. Joe Montgomery, his first touchdown of 1998.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
I just want you to know.
So just past the halfway point of the season, and the Buckeyes were halfway towards their goal of winning a national championship. And of the 5 remaining opponents, only Michigan had a winning record. Even so, the furthest thing from the Buckeyes' minds was overconfidence.
You guys worry more about overconfidence. I've never seen anybody write as much or talk as much during the week about overconfidence as you guys do. We don't. Our players, you don't hear our players say anything about being overconfident. But everybody, headlines in the paper today, Buckeyes overconfident, all that stuff. We're not overconfident. Hey, we're trying to win football games. We're going to work hard. I promise you right now. I wish you could sit in our meeting tomorrow afternoon. I guarantee we will get their attention because we're not satisfied with the way we're playing. We will not be overconfident next week or the next week or the next week, and we're going to play hard. You can write that down and quote me on that today. We will not be overconfident. We will work hard in practice, and we will get after Northwestern up there next week. Mark that down, all right?
The question heading into the Northwestern game wasn't who the best team on the field was, but if the field could hold up. The previous week, Michigan and Northwestern played in a torrential downpour that left Ryan Field nearly unplayable. But Michael Wiley didn't have any footing problems early, turning the corner here for a 28-yard touchdown run that gave the Buckeyes a 7-0 lead. After Dan Stoltz added a 37-yard field goal, something rare happened to the Ohio State defense. They gave up a big play. Dwayne Bates took a well-designed slant pattern 60 yards through the worst part of the field. That pulled Northwestern to within 3 points. But the OSU offense, as usual, had an answer. Joe Germain renewed acquaintances with David Boston on a play that netted 30 yards, but it actually went for 45 when the Wildcats were flagged for a late hit out of bounds. That fired up Joe Montgomery, who would not be denied on this 19-yard touchdown run. The defense, determined to make up for its mistake, then took the game over. A couple of Maple Leafs earned some Buckeye Leafs when Canadian natives Brent Johnson and Clinton Wayne both pulled down interceptions. The biggest play of the game for Ohio State came on 4th and 17 from Northwestern's 35-yard line.
Germain out of a shotgun, flanked on each side by a running back. Northwestern shows a blitz. Germain rolling left side at the 45. He's on the move to the 40, puts the ball in the air toward the end zone for Lumpkin, and that ball is caught for a touchdown. Lumpkin outfought the defender, a flag thrown after the catch as middle linebacker Conrad Emmerich nearly had a shot at intercepting that football, but John Lumpkin with his second touchdown catch of the year, and it's 23-10 Ohio State.
John Lumpkin was flagged for taunting on this play, part of 20 combined penalties between the two teams. There was also plenty of chatter that wasn't flagged. This was a week Coach John Cooper would prefer his Buckeyes continue to let their play do the talking.
I don't like it. I know this week Murphy talked like, he likes to go out and get in their mind and talk to them. I don't think there's any place in athletics for that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna see that it stops.
Even though Ohio State had a 23-10 lead at the half, the offense was sputtering a bit, but nothing a little high-octane Germain couldn't fix. In the last 30 minutes, Joe Germain completed 12 of 17 passes for 231 yards, and twice he found David Boston in the end zone. This fourth quarter score vaulted Boston past Chris Carter on Ohio State's all-time touchdown reception list.
It's a great honor. He's one of the best receivers to ever play the game of football, period, and it feels good to be associated with him.
For Germain, he continued to add to an already impressive season. For the third straight game, he threw for over 300 yards, placing him as a finalist for both the Davey O'Brien and Unitas Awards. When the dust settled, Ohio State left Evanston with a 36-10 win, keeping firm grasp of the nation's top ranking. That grasp turned into a stranglehold in week number 8. Once again, Ohio State proved how multidimensional they could be when special teams came up with its second touchdown of the year. David Boston scooped up an Indiana punt and then raced 70 yards down the sideline for the game's first score. Indiana tried to respond, but the OSU defense was adjusting to the Hoosiers' elusive quarterback. Antoine Randall L. moved IU across the Ohio State 40, and that set up an early key play to the game.
Steps away, shouts instructions, settles back under his center. Antoine Randall L. awaiting the football. He's got a trap option maneuver. Randall L. keeps it, runs it left side, fumbles right into the hands of a Buckeye who has it at the 35-yard line, and Gary Berry comes up with a pigskin. Antoine Randall L. could not secure the sphere, and we have penalty flags thrown all over the place as they are separating bodies after the exchange of possession.
That play sparked the Buckeye offense. Joe Germain stayed red hot by finding D. Miller for a 33-yard pickup. Miller had the best game of his career to date, hauling in 11 catches for 159 yards. That drive ended with Michael Wiley's 9th touchdown of the year and a 14-0 lead for Ohio State. The Buckeyes then began to keep Randall L. under wraps. Andy Katzenmoyer showed why he won the 1997 Butkus Award with this sack for an 8-yard loss. Katzenmoyer registered 3 tackles for losses on the day, earning him a share of Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week honors.
As far as Andy's play, I know in the first quarter when Andy made some real impact plays, me and Niall kind of looked at each other on the field and just shook our heads and said, Andy's taking this game over, and just kind of smiled at each other. But we expect that out of Andy. He's done it for 3 years now, and and I think that's why he's the best linebacker in the country.
Ohio State took firm control of the game in the second quarter. Beautiful play calling on 4th and 1 from the 6-yard line resulted in a John Lumpkin score. Even though Indiana scored on a 37-yard touchdown pass with 8 seconds left, Ohio State had a 14-point lead at the break. In the third quarter, the Buckeyes used great offensive balance to go back up by 3 touchdowns. Michael Wiley's sweep to the outside picked up 26 yards, and then Jermaine put the points on the board with this 3-yard toss to David Boston. But the second half really belonged to the Silver Bullet defense. Again, Indiana went for it on 4th and short, but Jerry Rodzinski denied Antoine Randall L for the first down. The Hoosiers gained only 111 yards of total offense after the half. Meanwhile, Jermaine continued to gain the attention of Heisman Trophy voters. For the 4th straight game, he topped the 300-yard mark, completing 31 of 45 passes for 351 yards. He also threw for 3 touchdowns, the last of which went to David Boston, closing out the scoring at 38-7. Jermaine's success for the week included co-Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week honors, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
It's hard to explain. Man. He's a great guy and a great quarterback. I mean, if I had a daughter and I had one guy to friend to marry, it'd be Joe. So, I mean, he's go out there and play hard, and he draws his confidence from all the hard work he puts down during the week.
The Buckeyes were on top of the world heading into the November 7th game with Michigan State. Number 1 in the country for the 9th straight week, Ohio State had also climbed to the top of the Bowl Championship Series poll for the first time. As the case had been all year, OSU jumped out to a first quarter lead. Joe Jermaine found tight end John Lumpkin down the middle for a 41-yard touchdown, giving the Buckeyes a 10-3 lead. It grew to 17-3 when Michael Wiley plunged into the end zone from a yard out, and Ohio State seemed well on its way to its 9th win of the season. Not much happened in the second quarter except for a couple of Spartan field goals, and OSU led 17-9 at the half. The third quarter saw the Buckeye defense rise to the occasion once again. Damon Moore stepped in front of a Bill Burke pass, and it was off to the races. 73 yards later, Ohio State took a 24-9 lead and seemed to be in control of the game. But after holding the Spartans to a 3 plays and out series, things started to go wrong.
Jarrett punting from his own 5. He chases down a bad snap. Gets a kickoff that hits at the Spartan 45. Ball is then loose around the midfield stripe. Michigan State chasing for possession. It is a question right now who has the ball.
Michigan State took advantage of the break and scored when Burke found Lavelle Richardson for a 24-yard touchdown, cutting the lead to 24-15. It would prove to be the turning point of the game.
It was a strange third quarter in that we intercept the ball, run it back for the score. We force them to punt. It hits one of our kids, and I mean, that's an odd situation. They take that ball in. So the time of possession there in the third quarter was a critical thing, but it a little odd, too, the way things played out there.
After an OSU turnover gave Michigan State another field goal, the Spartans got the ball back on their own 8-yard line. They proceeded to march 92 yards in 8 plays and capped it off with a Cedric Irvin 3-yard touchdown run. And for the first time since the Missouri game, the Buckeyes found themselves trailing after halftime. Things got worse, though. Joe Jermaine had the ball knocked loose. Michigan State recovered and added its 5th field goal of the game, good for a 28-24 lead.
I was trying to do too much, I think, in that play. And I think that's the play that really shot us in the foot and gave them the momentum. And it's my fault. And next time I just need to throw it out of bounds. And all I can do is just learn from it and just go from there.
Behind the running of Michael Wiley and Joe Montgomery, Ohio State advanced to the Michigan State 26-yard line. But that's where Montgomery was stopped on 4th and 1. With 1:39 remaining on the clock, still down by 4 points, Ohio State got another chance, and Jermaine responded, hitting David Boston and John Lumpkin on consecutive plays, moving the Buckeyes to the Spartan 15-yard line. A great play by Michigan State's Cedric Henry prevented a touchdown, and 2 more incompletions set up 4th and 10.
The Spartan 15, Michigan State blitzing. Jermaine back to throw long and left into the end zone for Miller. Intercepted by Michigan State in the end zone.
And with that interception, Ohio State's perfect season was ruined. With 2 games remaining, it was gut check time.
You know, we can play for the championship. We can play for, maybe the Rose Bowl or whatever comes if we win this league. I'm not exactly sure, what can happen, but all we can do now, guys, is try to regroup and beat Iowa next week and then come back home here and do something we haven't done quite a while. Let's beat Michigan.
We still got a shot to win the Big Ten, and that's one of the program's goals here at Ohio State. So, we're hurting, especially us older guys. We gotta pick our heads up and be good leaders.
It took a while for Ohio State to get going the next week at Iowa. Joe Germain had a pass intercepted by the Hawkeyes' DJ Johnson. He returned it all the way back to the Ohio State 11-yard line. And on the next play, quarterback Scott Mullen kept it on an option, making it into the end zone for a 7-0 Hawkeye lead. But the Buckeyes responded on the very next play from scrimmage. Who says Joe Montgomery isn't a home run threat? Here he follows blocks from Rob Murphy and Tyson Walter breaking loose down the sideline. Wideout David Boston ran interference on the secondary, freeing up Montgomery for an 80-yard touchdown run, the 5th longest in school history.
It was huge in this stadium because it is very loud. I mean, this is the first time I was here, but I've been warned all week and stuff about how loud it is, and especially being out at the tackle position, how difficult it is to hear. And they were really screaming on that, and that was the first play. And we ran a counter, and we got some good blocks, and Joe just broke it. And it was a big point in the game because it really shifted the momentum and quieted the crowd down.
The OSU defense came to play as well. Andy Katzenmoyer stuffed this Iowa run for a 5-yard loss. On the day, the Hawkeyes only gained 21 yards on 41 rushing attempts. Germain, meanwhile, shrugged off 2 first-quarter interceptions by hooking up with David Boston for a 59-yard touchdown. Ohio State had a 14-7 lead and over 200 yards of offense in the first quarter alone. And for the 5th time this season, the Buckeye defense scored a touchdown. Mike Collins picked off a pass and rumbled 22 yards for a 21-7 OSU lead. After Hawkeye quarterback Scott Mullen was forced out of the game with a broken collarbone, Kyle McCann came in and led Iowa to its last scoring drive of the game. He scrambled into the end zone from 13 yards out, cutting the OSU lead to 21-14. But Ohio State grabbed momentum back right before halftime.
36 seconds left in the half, down to 33 now. And on first down, Jermaine to throw from the Iowa 24. Right corner of the end zone, wide open Boston. He's got it for 6, David Boston. His 2nd touchdown catch of the day. 2nd touchdown throw for Joe Germain. Boston left DJ Johnson all alone. It's 27-14 Ohio State.
The Buckeyes turned up the pressure on defense in the second half. Consecutive sacks by Katzenmoyer and Rodney Bailey pushed the Hawkeyes out of field goal range. The next drive was one for the history books. David Boston passed Chris Carter to become Ohio State's all-time receptions leader. Boston would also join Carter and Terry Glenn as the only Buckeye wideouts to top 1,000 yards in a single season. The lead grew to 35-14 when Germain improvised on a scramble and finally hit Matt Keller for a 17-yard touchdown. Backup fullback Jamar Martin became the 2nd Buckeye to score his first career touchdown in the game, bowling his way in from 10 yards out to close out the scoring at 45-14. For the offense, the Buckeyes racked up 627 yards, the 6th highest total in school history. The defense broke an OSU record by sacking Iowa quarterbacks 11 times. The Buckeyes were glad to get back in the win column, but they knew they'd have to get better with Michigan headed for Columbus.
We had some dreams shattered last week, and I was interested to see how the team would respond. We came out and played a good game. I don't think we played a great game. And down the road, we're going to have to play better than that. We're going to go in Sunday and look at the Iowa film and fix our corrections, and I think we should have a solid path down the road.
College football's greatest rivalry was greeted by a thunderous air show, appropriate considering the air show that would follow. But it was the Jets of Michael Wiley that got the Buckeyes off the ground.
Keller and Wiley in the eye, flankers on each side of the field. Looks like there may be an audible being executed by the Buckeyes on the line of scrimmage. Pitch Wiley going to the right side, block from Keller, springs him to the 50-yard line to Michigan's 40. Down the middle goes Wiley, and he's going to get it all. 10-5 touchdown. Michael Wiley, 53 yards, his 10th score of the season on the ground, and the Buckeyes have a 6-0 lead.
After the OSU defense forced a 3 plays and out series, special teams became a factor. Michigan punter Jason Vincent had the ball slip through his hands and shanked a hurried kick to the Ohio State 16-yard line. And the offense didn't waste any time, making it 14-0.
Jermaine under center, takes the snap, drops to pass, has some time, puts it into the end zone right side. D. Miller, touchdown, D. Miller, the senior from Springfield, on a 16-yard pass play. Miller beat Andre Weathers into the end zone, and the Buckeyes have taken a 13-0 lead.
Jermaine went right back at it, finding David Boston with a deep pass over the middle for a 58-yard gain, but the ball came loose, and Michigan's Tommy Hendricks returned it to the Ohio State 14, setting up Jay Feely's 27-yard field goal and cutting the lead to 14-3. The Wolverines were having trouble getting any offense started. The Buckeyes were in every hole, tackling every Michigan runner, while the secondary had the receivers covered like blankets. But again, special teams stepped up.
On 4th down, Jason Vincent will punt away, and it's blocked. The ball is rolling loose at the 25 of Michigan. Central McClellan tries to fall on it. He cannot. It's now finally picked up. Looked like Jonathan Wells got it, but they'll say McClellan has it down right around the 20, and it is Derek Ross who came in and blocked the punt.
And once again, the offense took advantage. Joe Germain and David Boston began work on what would be a huge afternoon for the pass-catching combination. When Boston turned this curl pattern into a 30-yard touchdown, Ohio State was firmly in control of the game with a 21-3 lead. But like the Buckeyes last year, you can never count out a team in this rivalry. The Wolverines drove 80 yards downfield, and with 25 seconds left in the half, capped the drive with a Tom Brady 4-yard touchdown pass to Ty Streets. When the Buckeyes came out in the second half, there was no letting up. Jerry Brodzinski dove and tipped a Brady pass to himself. The interception was one of many big plays turned in by Buckeye seniors playing their final home game in Ohio Stadium. But none was bigger in this game than David Boston's. His second touchdown came on this 49-yard strike from Joe Germain, one of 3 touchdown passes on the day for Joe. He also threw for 330 yards, the 7th time in 11 games he topped the 300-yard mark this season.
It definitely is a great feeling. It's the first time that I've experienced it, and this is what it's all about. This is why you come to Ohio State and Michigan and to be able to play in these type of games. It builds character, and it teaches you things, not only football things, but things for life too.
Michigan added a field goal to cut the lead to 28-13, but OSU got those points right back thanks to this 49-yard pass play to fullback Matt Keller. The big gainer set up a Dan Stoltz 39-yard field goal and capped the scoring for the Buckeyes. Michigan got another field goal, but that would be it for the Wolverines. Ohio State's defense was relentless, allowing only 4 rushing yards on 28 attempts. Even though Tom Brady threw for 375 yards, Ohio State intercepted him twice and sacked the Michigan quarterback 7 times.
Michigan had a lot of yards passing, but you see how hard it is for a team to come up victorious though when they have to pass the ball so much. I mean, they threw for over 300 yards, but yet still they only had 1 touchdown. See, it's harder to score passing touchdowns than it is to score running touchdowns.
Offensive coordinator Mike Jacobs said he wished he could stretch the word fantastic into 2 words to try and describe David Boston. It was a record game for the junior from Humble, Texas. 10 catches for 217 yards, the 3rd highest one-game yardage total in school history, and the most yardage ever given up to one receiver in Michigan history. Those 10 grabs gave Boston 74 on the year, breaking his own single-season record.
I delivered a message that I'm a human being that matures like every other college player, and I learned my lesson from last year, and this is what happened.
With the 31-16 win, the Ohio State seniors cemented their place in school history as the winningest senior class ever. No other OSU team could claim 42 wins in a 4-year span. But best of all, a win over Michigan meant the removal of one large cloud that had hung over the Buckeye program.
Obviously, I'm happy, but I'll be honest, I'm more happy for the program. I'm happy for myself, don't get me wrong, but I'm happy for Andy Geiger and Arch Griffin and Bill Miles and the administration, Dr. Kerwin, I'm obviously happy for the senior football players I mentioned, and I'm happy for our football team. I'm happy for the underclassmen. This is a great win for the Ohio State football program. And the seniors are leaving here now, as you know, as the winningest senior class in the history of Ohio State football for the 3rd year in a row.
It was pandemonium in there. It was something, just a lot of tears and a lot of feeling we got a monkey off our back, at least for now till next year. And you know, it's just a great feeling.
More so. I mean, I knew I was going to be excited. I knew I was going to shed a couple tears, but man, I was bawling like a baby after the game. We're just so happy for the win, for Coach Cooper especially, and for the seniors.
Getting in the locker room was fun. We sang the fight song as loud as I've ever heard it, and you know, we said let's sit and enjoy this one for a night or two before we start worrying about the bowl game and that. This team needs to relax. We've had a lot of pressure on us with the #1 ranking, and I think guys are going to take Thanksgiving break and really soak in what's happened this year, regroup, and come back even more focused for the bowl game.
Beat the Wolverines. It's something Ohio State fans talk about 365 days a year. It's something the Buckeyes did on November 21st. Thanks for joining us on Buckeyes 98 Across the Field. Now let's rejoin that celebration.
Let me say this to you guys. I'm so proud of the whole football program, the whole football team, but particularly you seniors. I tell you guys have been great. You're leaving here with the winningest class in the history of football. Dr. Johnson here. Is he back there?
And what? God is good.
All the time. One more time. Go ahead.
God is good. All the time.
Get out of here, guys.
Big Ten champ, what's up, baby? Yeah! Big Ten champ, baby, what's the man? Let's go! Okay? Big Ten champ, baby, win.
That's your hat. I'll give you one.
Yeah, I'm almost got it. How real is this? How real is this? Let's go, baby. What's up? Get in, man. Wait a second, how's that? It's real. All my boys back in the field. All my players. I love all these guys. Stay running this right here.